Reproduction in organism, the period from birth to natural death of an organism is called as lifespan. Lifespan of an organism are not necessarily correlated with different sizes. The sizes of crows and parrots are not very different, yet their lifespans show a wide difference. Similarly, a mango tree has much more shorter lifespan as compared to a peepal tree. No organism is immortal except single-celled organism. Reproduction is defined as the biological process in which organism give rise to young ones similar to itself, based on whether this is participation of one organism or two in the one organism or two in the process of reproduction. It is when the offspring is by single parent or without the involvement of gamete formation. Asexual, when opposite sex participate in the reproductive process, also involve fusion. Then sexual reproduction, organism habitat, inner physiology, organisms habitat, internal physiology, and several other factors are collectively responsible for how it reproduces. Organism habitat, internal physiology, several other factors are collectively responsible for how it reproduces. Habitat, internal physiology, and several other factors. Say sexual reproduction, this method, a single individual is capable of producing offspring. The term clone is used to describe such morphologically and genetically similar individuals. Asexual reproduction is common among single-celled organisms in plants and animals with relatively less simple organizations. In protists and monorans, the cell division is itself a mode of reproduction. Organisms reproduce asexually by binary fission, amoeba, paramecium, budding हो गया yeast, fragmentation हो गया hydra. Organisms reproduce asexually by binary fission, amoeba and paramecium, budding हो गया yeast, fragmentation हो गया hydra. Budding yeast, fragmentation hydra, binary fission amoeba, paramecium. Asexual reproductive structures, zoospore हो गया fungi and algae, conidia हो गया penicillium, birds हो गया hydra, gemule हो गया sponge, bulbul हो गया agave. In plants, the vegetative reproduction is frequently used for asexual reproduction. In plants, the vegetative reproduction plants is frequently used for asexual reproduction. In plants, the unit of vegetative propagation such as runner, rhizome, sucker, offset, tuber, bulb are all capable of giving rise to new offspring. These structures are called vegetative propagules. Water hyacinth, also called terror of Bengal, is one of the most invasive weeds found in growing in standing water, propagating through offset. It drains oxygen from water, which leads to death of fishes. This plant was introduced in India because of its beautiful flower in shape of leaf. Since it can propagate vegetatively at phenomenal rate and spread all over the water body in a short period of time, it is very difficult to get rid of them. Sexual reproduction involves formation of male and female gamete either by same individual or by different individual of the opposite sex. These gametes fuse to form zygote, which develop to form new organism. It is an elaborate, complex, and slow process as compared to asexual reproduction. Because of the fusion of male and female gametes, sexual reproduction results in offspring that are not identical to parents or amongst themselves. When it comes to sexual mode of reproduction, organisms share a similar pattern, though they differ greatly in external morphology, internal structure, and physiology. Internal physiology, organism habitat, responsible for how to organism habitat, internal physiology. Because of fusion of male and female gamete, the sexual reproduction result in the offspring that are not identical to parent or amongst themselves. When it comes to sexual mode of reproduction, organisms share a similar pattern, though they differ greatly in external morphology, internal structure, and physiology. All organisms have to reach a certain stage of growth and maturity in their life before they can reproduce sexually. That period of growth is called juvenile phase. It is known as the vegetative phase in plants. The phase is of variable duration in different organisms. Plants, the annual and biennial type, show clear-cut vegetative, reproductive, and senescent phases. But in the perennial species, it is very difficult to clearly define these phases. But in the perennial species, it is very difficult to clearly define these phases. A few plants exhibit unusual flowering phenomena, such as bamboo species, flower only once in their lifetime, generally after 50 से 100 years, produce number of fruits and die. Produce a number of fruits and die. Plants annual and biennial show clear-cut vegetative, reproductive, senescent phases, but in perennial species it is very difficult to clearly define this phase. Few plants exhibit unusual flowering phenomenon such as bamboo species only flower once in lifetime, generally after 50 से 100 years, produce large number of fruit and die. Strobilanthes scutiana flowers once in 12 years and the plant flowered last during September-October 2006. In both plants and animals, hormones are responsible for transition between the three phases. In both plants and animals, hormones are responsible for transition between the three phases. Interaction between hormone and certain environmental factors regulate the reproductive processes and associated behavioral expressions of organisms. Buds, eyes of potato tuber, rhizome of banana and ginger give rise to new plants. The site of origin of the new plantlets in the plants are invariably the nodes present in the modified stem of these plants. Adventitious buds arise from the notches present at the margins of the bioflower. Next, events in sexual reproduction. Events in sexual reproduction follow a regular sequence. These sequential events may be grouped into three distinct stages, namely pre-fertilization, fertilization, post-fertilization events. Pre-fertilization events. These include all the events of sexual reproduction prior to the fusion of gametes. The two main pre-fertilization events are gametogenesis and gamete transfer. Gametogenesis refers to the process of formation of two gametes. Gametogenesis refers to the process of formation of two types of gametes, male and female. In some algae, the gametes are homogametes, isogametes. However, in majority are heterogametes. In such organisms, the male gamete is called antherozoid or sperm, and female gametes is called the egg or ovum. ह्यूमन बींग्स में होगा 23, फ्रूट फ्लाई में होगा 4 और फायोग्लॉसम में 630, एप्पल 17, राइस 12, मेज 10, पोटैटो 24, बटरफ्लाई हो गया 190, अनियन हो गया 8 एंड हाउस फ्लाई हो गया 6. फ्रूट फ्लाई 4 और फायोग्लॉसम 630, हाउस फ्लाई हो गया 6, बटरफ्लाई 190, एप्पल राइस में पोटैटो. Onion 8, housefly 6. Next, cell division during gamete formation. Gametes are haploid through the plant body. Parent body may be haploid or diploid. The haploid parent produces gametes by mitosis division, whereas diploid parent produces gametes by meiosis in meiocyte. At the end of meiosis, only one set of chromosomes get incorporated into each gamete. At the end of meiosis, only one set of chromosomes get incorporated into each gamete. Moneron, fungi, alga, bryophyte possesses haploid body. Monera, fungi, algae, and bryophyte possesses haploid body. Pteridophyte, gymnosperm, angiosperm possess diploid body. Plants may have male and female reproductive structures in the same plant or different plant. In several fungi and plants, such is Terms such as homothallic and monoecious are used to denote the bisexual condition, and heterothallic and dioecious are the terms used to describe unisexual condition. Heterothallic and dioecious. In flowering plants, unisexual male flower is staminate while female is pistillate. In flowering plants, unisexual male flower is staminate while female is pistillate. Some examples of monoecious plants are cucurbits and coconut, and of dioecious plants are papaya and date palm. मोनोइशियस प्लांट का हो गया पपाया डेट पाम, डाइशियस प्लांट का हो गया पपाया डेट पाम, मोनोइशियस प्लांट हो गया कुकुरबिट्स एंड कोकोनट. आइसोगैमिट क्लैडोफोरा, आइसोगैमिट क्लैडोफोरा, हेटेरोगैमिट फ्यूकस. आइसोगैमिट में वो भी था ना, दो को यूडोरिना के ऊपर वाला स्पायरोजाइला यूलोथ्रिक्स. और हेटेरोगैमिट में हो गया फ्यूकस, यूलोथ्रिक्स में आइसोगैमस है, और क्लैडोफोरा भी है यूलोथ्रिक्स. यूलोथ्रिक्स, स्पायरोजाइला, क्लैडोफोरा. आइसोगैमिट होता है क्लैडोफोरा. हेटेरोगैमिट हो गया फ्यूकस, हेटेरोगैमिट हो गया फ्यूकस. वॉलॉक्स फ्यूकस. मोनोइशियस प्लांट हो गया कारा. मोनोइशियस प्लांट यानी कि बाइसेक्सुअल. मोनोइशियस प्लांट मतलब होमोथैलिक, बाइसेक्सुअल. Gamete transfer in several simple plants like algae, bryophyte, and pteridophyte. Water is the medium through which gamete transfer takes place. A large number of male gametes, however, fail to reach the female gametes. Large number of male gametes, however, fail to reach female gametes. To compensate this loss of male gametes during transport, the number of male gametes produced is several thousand times the number of female gametes produced. Post-fertilization events in the substitution of the formation of zygote are called post-fertilization events. The zygote is found in all sexually reproducing organisms. Development of zygote depends on the type of life cycle the organism has and the environment. Zygote is the vital link that ensures the continuity of species between organisms of one generation and the next. Sulekha ji, get